another continual update about the status of things. As you all know, Arkansas suffered pretty devastating destruction over the course of Friday afternoon and evening due to tornadoes coming through the state in both central Arkansas and in Wynne, Arkansas. Certainly a long road ahead, but we're making significant progress in cleaning up those communities and primarily taking care of people that need assistance right now. As we've said from day one, our focus is going to be on the people first and the paperwork second. As much as we can, we are trying to alleviate some of the pressure points that individuals have. A couple of things that we're going to do this afternoon. We're going to sign 2 executive orders, one that will allow for paid leave for state employees who have been impacted directly by the storm, as well as a second executive order that will extend the tax deadline for those who have been directly impacted by the storm. As many places as we can find to relieve those pressure points, that's what we're going to do over the course of the next several days. Also, want to announce that FEMA has opened up their location here in Little Rock. It's at 315 Shackelford Road, where people can go for assistance. Our goal is to make sure that they have a one-stop shop so that they can come in and process things from both the federal, state, and city level. Any documentation that they need or specific assistance requests that they have, they can do that all in one place. And that is the first of that location so that we can start addressing those problems. North Little Rock and Wynne operations by FEMA we expect to open within the next 24 to 36 hours, and we will keep you guys updated on that. Lastly, we launched a website this morning, helparkansas.com, that people can go to, both who need assistance, a list of options available, whether it's shelter, food, clothing, or other assistance requests that they have. All of that is in that one central location, as well as those who want to volunteer. They either want to donate time, money, or supplies. They can go there and find a number of options available. So that's helparkansas.com. All of those things are going to be in that one place to make it as simple as possible for those who need assistance, as well as those who want to help out fellow Arkansans. I can't tell you how thankful we are for the absolute outpouring of support that we have seen as we've traveled across the state over the last couple days, from Arkansans stepping up and helping their neighbor. I want to remind people that we have a long way to go. Let's not lose that enthusiasm and continue to help our fellow Arkansans over the course of the next several weeks as we see these needs and demands come up. Last thing, I want to be sure that we remind people that Arkansas is expected to have additional severe weather that comes through tomorrow. We want to make sure people are paying attention to their local officials and weather alerts that are coming in around the state. There is a large area of Arkansas that we expect that could be impacted. So please pay attention to any weather alerts that you see over the course of the next 48 hours that could impact the state, and make sure that we are paying attention to those alerts and taking them seriously. Thank you so much for your help, and I'm going to turn it over to Senator Cotton, and we'll take a couple questions. Senator.
Thank you, Governor, for hosting me this afternoon, and thanks to A.J. Gary from the Department of Emergency Management for an informative briefing. And thanks to all the hard workers in the department who are not just helping Arkansans recover from these terrible storms, but helped avoid the worst possible outcome in many cases, the loss of human life. We can rebuild your homes, we can rebuild your schools, we can rebuild businesses, but we can't bring you back to life. So they've done great work, and as the Governor said, unfortunately we're into the spring storm season. There could be heavier storms coming ahead, to include storms for tomorrow and into the evening. You should always listen to your local officials, to your weather forecasters. I know it may seem sometimes like you can ride out a storm, but the risk is simply not worth it. Please heed their warnings and follow their directions to make sure that you protect yourself and your loved ones. One thing I've seen across the state is that while you can destroy a building, a storm can do a terrible amount of damage, it can't destroy the human spirit. And the spirit of Arkansas has been shining strong for these last 3 or 4 days. You go around central Arkansas and you see pop-up tents on corners where people are offering food and beverages. In some of these distribution centers for food and clothing and other items, you have almost as many people dropping items off as you have them picking it up. As I traveled around Wynne this morning, I saw the Methodist church that had been destroyed there, and someone said there's the Methodist church, it was destroyed. But you had the pastor out front, you had a lot of his congregation working to repair it and pitching in with others who have lost their homes. And I thought to myself, that building may have been destroyed, but that church is stronger than ever. And I'm sure that pastor and all of his congregation are going to be gathering somewhere this Sunday to celebrate Easter together, because what really defines us as a state is our people and our common spirit. And again, we can rebuild buildings, but nothing can ever take away our spirit. And I'm just so proud to be serving the great people of Arkansas. We've had a great response around the state, and our governor, our Department of Emergency Management has worked around the clock these last 3 days to help people with their immediate needs. We're pleased to have FEMA on the ground coordinating federal response as well. There'll be a lot more than immediate needs, and we're not going to go anywhere for weeks, for months, for years, for as long as it takes to help you put back everything, to build your home back, to get your school back, to put your business, your church back in good 100% working order. We'll be here for you. That's what your elected officials are supposed to do. I can tell you that's what Governor Sanders, that's what I, and that's what the rest of your elected officials will do. Thank you all.
Thanks. Any questions?
What is the state doing to prepare for tomorrow? State or local officials. There's lots of debris still on the ground, which can make things even worse, really, for those storms that we're expecting. Are you guys doing anything to prepare for it?
Absolutely. I mean, not just because the storm is coming, but because that's the nature of the responsibility in front of us, is to clean up that debris. We're trying to make that happen as quickly as possible. The other thing is letting people know that this is potentially a severe weather alert on the way, and that people are paying attention to those alerts, that they're taking shelter, and that they have a plan in place for themselves and for their family. Those are the most important things that we can do right now. And AJ, I don't know if you want to speak to anything specific. AJ Gary, the director of ADAM here in Arkansas. AJ, if you want to talk about any of the other specific actions ahead of tomorrow.
Sure. So what we also do is when we have severe weather coming in, we'll do coordination calls with all of our counties, local officials that can dial in. We have the National Weather Service. They are a great partner of ours that can give those updates and let everybody kind of know what's expected. Of course, we've been activated for the Friday storm since Friday, the State Emergency Operations Center. We will continue to run that activation through Wednesday, so we will have our personnel here at the EOC that we can respond to any needs at the local level, if there are any. Again, the best thing people can do is really pay attention to the weather advice that's coming in from, whether it's the Weather Channel, it's their local news or local weathermen, to really heed those warnings and to take precautions when they need to.
Sanders, I know you spoke to the president yesterday. What was that conversation like? Can you tell us anything about it?
Sure. We had a very positive conversation, as you can tell by the folks behind us, with FEMA as well as the administrator that was on the ground yesterday. We've had a great and consistent partnership back and forth. Going to continue to work together. It's going to take everybody engaging and investing. I'm incredibly thankful that we have amazing partners in our federal delegation, both through Senator Cotton, Senator Bozeman, and all four of our congressional delegation are helping make sure that the federal response is everything that we need and that they're acting quickly. So far, we have not asked for anything that they haven't delivered, and we're incredibly grateful for that back and forth and the cooperation we've received from the federal side. Senator, I don't know if you have anything you want to add to that. But
I would just stress one more time what AJ said. Please heed the warnings of your local elected officials and emergency managers and the weather forecasters. If they encourage you to take shelter, we can reschedule a baseball game. You can run an errand at another time. You can finish that last task at work some other time. But if the storm hits you the way it hit Central Arkansas or the way it hit Wynn, and you haven't taken proper preparations, we can't bring you back to life. So please, wherever you are in the state, if you hear those warnings, whether they're from weather forecasters on television, the radio, from your local emergency manager, your local officials, please heed them and take them seriously. I think we saved a lot of lives in Wynn and Central Arkansas because our citizens in those communities did act, and their leaders took steps like sending kids home from school, making sure that everyone who wasn't in an essential emergency response job was home as well so they could take shelter. So please heed those warnings.
Question, Governor Sanders, I know you've toured Jacksonville. That city is working really hard to clean up all the debris and damage. They told me yesterday National Guard is there, Red Cross. Is FEMA going to be setting up there, especially with the threat of more severe weather tonight?
Right now, the plan is that FEMA would have locations in Little Rock, North Little Rock, and Wynn, and that North Little Rock location could help serve the residents of Jacksonville. Working very closely with the mayor, Mayor Elmore, there on the ground, and if they have specific requests, additional guard and things like that, we're happy to meet those. But right now, we feel comfortable with those 3 centers. If we need to add a 4th, we would certainly work with FEMA to make that request. Thanks so much, guys. We appreciate it.